Hello, this is the Post-Up Show. I'm Cyrus, that's Kaunda. We are going to be talking to you about all things NBA. We love it. We're based here on the African continent. Our tags are just underneath our faces. You can see exactly who we are on socials. Kaunda, you know what time it is, man.
Yes, it's time for the all-important Post-Up Show. Let's get it.
It is
cracking, man.
It's basically like when Wu-Tang came together. This is what they did. So we're going to be talking about the top performing African players in the NBA. Now, we list African players as players who have a first or second generation link to the continent. So that could be a parent, and invariably no further than a grandparent. But we've primarily looked at people whose parents are either from the African continent or they have been born in the African continent. Now, the top performers, Kay, have been some really impressive people, especially when, we count Giannis as an African player because he's Greek-Nigerian, or rather Nigerian-Greek, because his parents are from Nigeria. Now, maybe we start with somebody who's really been sort of performing at the very, very highest level in the NBA. That's Joel Embiid, because this man, born in Cameroon, and, has just come up like, I don't know if anybody really expected him to be as good as he has been, and then also to be performing the way he has been, averaging 28.3 points a game, 11.1 rebounds a game. This man is balling out of control. What do you think of Joel Embiid?
Cyrus, that's a walking double-double. And I think we've mentioned before in previous shows that he is currently the heart and soul of the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think they'll be performing the way they're performing. And, at the time of recording this, sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference, if it wasn't for one Joel Embiid. He came into the league, Cyrus, after being obviously a BWB Africa alum. Then some college days in the US, then going into the NBA. And his entry to the NBA, Cyrus, wasn't the most comfortable one. There was a broken foot involved and 2 seasons missed, and people were not sure if what they had bet on from the African continent was the best. And right now, I think they're probably patting themselves on the back, like, thank goodness we gambled on this young man.
Exactly.
He's scoring well. Cyrus, he rebounds well. His assist numbers, I'll give him 3. I'll give him 3 assists if I'm averaging it out, getting to the nearest whole number, right? Three assists a game. That's 6 points minimum he's assisting with. Cyrus, that is not bad. 28, 11, and 3. I'll give him. Forget 2.8. I'll give him 3 straight. Yeah. This is a great performance by Joel Embiid, Cyrus, and I think he hasn't even reached his pinnacle. This is Joel Embiid, who I see personally that he could get more serious. And he could be more of a leader. And I think with Doc Rivers at the helm, that could potentially happen. I think Doc Rivers is the kind of coach that would definitely connect with Joel Embiid at that level. It's not the first time he's having African flavor in his team. If you
that is true. That is true.
So Cyrus, he might bring that Ubuntu mixed with a little bit of that old Doc Rivers experience, once a Hawks player, now, a seasoned coach in this league. And I think Joel Embiid, Cyrus, rightfully so, he's one of our top performing African players right now. And he's doing everything, Cyrus. He's rebounding, he's scoring,
he really is.
He's assisting. He's a menace when he needs to be, and he'll troll you. He might even troll the poster show.
He might just, and that's the crazy thing, because Joel Embiid is a completely different thing. He's a dad now, and I think this is also what people have been talking about in terms of mentioning him in the MVP discussions, because he really is up there in the NBA in terms of his performances. And some people have actually said he needs to get more serious, because perhaps if he takes the game a little bit more seriously, he dominates a little bit more, and everybody starts to see that his candidature for MVP is real. But one of the things about this list is that there's a lot of players on this who we love. They might not necessarily be everybody's favorites, but they're also players that we feel have been doing a lot for the last couple of seasons. One of those is another Cameroonian, Joel's compatriot, and that's Pascal Siakam, whose numbers have dropped off a little bit from what they were last season. But this is a player who the Toronto Raptors have bet on and bet on big. He is averaging 19.6 points per game, 8.1 rebounds a game, and 4.4 assists a game in a team that really is struggling. But Pascal is the kind of player who, once he starts to find a move other than the spin move, can really be destructive. And he was such a phenomenon in, his meteoric rise to stardom in Toronto that you have to look at him and say, this is the kind of player that teams want their futures to be based on, want to be built on, because he will give you every single bit of himself and heart and soul, but also he will perform when he's in the groove.
Cyrus, first of all, you got to refer to this young man, right? I know he struggled at the beginning of this season. It hasn't been the best start for him. I saw him a couple of days ago. He put up a great performance. I think he's coming into his own. I saw him do a little bit more than the spin move. He was Euro stepping to that. But Cyrus, first of all, let's introduce him, right? This is NBA champion, former Basketball Without Borders alum, all-star. Pascal Siakam,
most improved player of the year, yeah.
D-League champion. This boy got accolades, Cyrus. This boy's got accolades.
That is true.
I know he struggled at the start of the season, but I think Nick Nurse will find a way to help him get his groove back. He performed very well. Cyrus, the championship run they had in Toronto, that was fantastic to see him perform at the level that he performed. Last season also, he performed very well. The Raptors did very well. They went to the postseason. Obviously, they didn't go all the way to the finals as defending champions, but it was what it was. I think it was just the time for the Heat to do what they needed to do. Now back to Pascal, Cyrus. Every now and then you go through a rut. You stink up the court sometimes, if you will. Yeah. And I think it's what's happening to one Pascal. I mean, even Anthony Davis recently said he was just out of his groove, and he was. And I think Pascal Siakam is going through that period, but I think he can come back. There's a reason he's an all-star. There's a reason he's got so many accolades. But and Cyrus, I really think in a team like the Toronto Raptors, where he's not the primary scorer, I know he can put more baskets in, but I think he's also deferring to other preferred scorers. So if you look at the likes of Kyle Lowry, you look at Fred VanVleet, you look at Norman Powell, all those guys would be preferred as scorers before him. So unless he's in the paint.
Coach Ness has changed things a little bit in the sense that he's tried to lean on Pascal, and I think that's what was causing the problems. But yeah, he has been doing a little better in recent games.
No, Cyrus. I mean, he must work. He's a big. I mean, he's a four. He's not the biggest four. He's not like a Serge Ibaka size four, but he's also lanky and tall enough to be able to get around that rim with ease, which he does on the best of days. But I think he's just going through a rut, Cyrus. But Pascal Siakam, for me, I think he could potentially, once again, as I pronounced him, be the future of that franchise, the face of that franchise. And he's rightfully so one of the faces of Africa in the NBA. And putting up the numbers he can put, I'm sure he can go to the mid to late 20s if he really worked hard. I mean, he's got a decent mid-range. He hasn't got the best three-pointer there, but when it lands, it lands. But he's got a decent mid-range. He can do work in the paint around the rim. His defense could do with a bit more improvement. I haven't been seeing that old Pascal that I liked a couple of seasons ago come back, but I think Nick Ness is addressing that, Cyrus. I mean, you can't let a siren such as Pascal Siakam just sit there.
No, you can't.
He's going to come back.
And I think that's the thing. That's why we put him on this list, because though he hasn't been at his best, he's been one of the best performing Africans. And I think the thing with Pascal is that he's often had his issues with foul trouble, but he's getting better. And I think this is what we want to see, an improvement. And we are seeing that. Speaking of players who have improved and done some incredible things, we've got to go back to one of our favorites, and this is Clint Capela. Now, Cyrus. This is his 7th season in the NBA. And the man is, and I know that we love double doubles. So he's averaging 13 points a game, averaging 14 rebounds a game. He did a 20-point and 20 rebound game not too long ago. Clint Capela, I mean, this man has got a heck of a lot of the right attributes.
Cyrus, when the Rockets let this man go last season, I was questioning the thinking. I was like, do they love small ball that much? Do they want to be the Warriors that much? How do you let go of a talent like Clint Capela? And he was doing at the Rockets what he's doing now at the Hawks. But
the Hawks,
I think there's something that he was not doing yet. But he's doing well with his double doubles. But he's a great rim protector as well. But I'm not seeing that rim protecting come through yet at the Hawks. And when it comes through, Cyrus, he's gonna be a problem. But I don't know, maybe if he's leaving that up to a younger John Collins. I'm not really sure, but I know he's a great rim protector. He can block the best of them. He's that guy you need for that defensive force, if you will. But I think him playing alongside John Collins, Trae Young, the young talent that is in Atlanta, I think Clint Capela is going to do much better than what he's doing now. But already he's impressing. I think the Rockets right now are probably regretting the day they let that talent go, Cyrus.
Well, I don't know about regretting, because Christian Wood is looking pretty good, but they did go through a phase where they were like, okay, something's not working, and they figured, look, it must be the big man position. Capela has to go. But look at what he's done. He's actually showed them what he's capable of. And I think this is one of the things about some of these big guys in the NBA is that you can do a lot, and Capela isn't blocking shots at the rate that he should be, but he's giving that Atlanta Hawks team a lot of confidence in the defensive end. He's grabbing a lot of boards for them, and that's really important. And he's getting points when he needs to. He's also provided some sort of maturity to that young team. And so there's players in that roster who haven't necessarily had a lot of game time. We're looking at another African player in this particular case, the Angolan kid, who they all have to learn from what Capela can give them, whether it be John Collins, whether it be the new rookie Onyeko Okongw. There's a lot of guys who will need to see what a center does in the NBA, and Capela is doing exactly that. I mean, when you look at his stats, you see that this man is not playing around. He's actually doing what you want from a center. Grab the boards, get the points when they're on offer, and make sure you're making your team a good team. Do you feel, though, that people are seeing the very best of Capela at the moment, or there's more that he can do?
No, there's more than he can do. Like I said, Cyrus, Clint Capela's done more than this at the Rockets. That's why I was surprised when they let him go. But I suppose it was a needs thing. Maybe they felt they didn't need a big man at that time, or they were making space for a younger big man to come in. But Clint Capela, Cyrus, is still young enough. He can still get up there. Second chance buckets. He can grab those offensive boards. He can grab defensive boards. He can rim protect with the best of them. I've seen that guy block some of the guys that I thought, okay, this is a guaranteed dunk. Here goes a dunk. And Clint is like, there. And if you look at a talent like that, he hasn't reached his pinnacle, Cyrus. He can do much more. And I think in Atlanta, he's going to do much more. It's just that the system is a little bit different. And I think depending on Trae Young's, offensive prowess with his three-point shot and the fact that he can also comfortably get to the rim, I suppose they will use the big man when they need the big man. But definitely, Clint Capela is a new age big man, if you ask me. He only lacks one attribute of the new age big man, and that's a 3-point shot. He doesn't shoot from three. He doesn't need to, Cyrus, because what he doesn't do on the 3-point line, he makes up for in the paint. He's got a reasonable floater. He can dunk with the best of them, being that size, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a great. He drives well to the rim and sees that the bottom of that bucket. So, Cyrus, we haven't seen the best Clint Capela yet come out in Atlanta, and I think it's still coming, and I trust him because he's already showed us now. He's a walking double-double, Cyrus, and those numbers can only get.
I agree with you. And the kid I was thinking of was Bruno Fernando, who's also at the Hawks, who I think can learn a lot from Capela and also try and emulate the likes of John Collins. Now, the next African player, and the second to last one on this list, is Bam Adebayo, a Nigerian-American. He's really just been phenomenal. We've been watching the rise of Bam. He's averaging 20 points a game, 9.3 rebounds a game, and 5.3 assists a game. So his rebound numbers aren't as high as some of the other bigs on this list, and primarily we've only chosen bigs. But I guess that's where the African players are excelling. And when you look at Bam Adebayo's stats, his game is it's evolving so much pretty much on a week-by-week basis, you see him be a really great scorer. Then on the other end, you see him being a really great defender. And then he's finding ways to bring his teammates in, so his assist numbers are high. Bam has just been impressive for me because I love watching just his energy, his high work rate, but then also his efficiency. He's been out there getting the points that he needs to for a Heat team that was in the NBA Finals last season and is really struggling to find form this season. But Bam's been one of the shining stars in that particular team.
Cyrus, 29-5 is no joke. 20 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists.
29 and 5, yeah. Not 29 and 5, but 29 and 5, yeah.
9 and 5. What's my punctuation, Cyrus? 29 and 5. You want me to start speaking in staccato in here. Anyway, Cyrus, Bub for me has been on the rise for a while. I mean, you saw him play in the summer league, and you've always spoken highly of him. I really started paying attention to him once he came into the NBA, like in the main league. And Cyrus, last season, I saw a youngster that is ready for the big stage, ready for everything, ready to be one of the best big men, not only the best big men with African heritage, but the best big man, period. He's fearless. Yeah. He gets out there. He scores. He rebounds. He assists. But the thing for me, Cyrus, is that I think one of the things that Bam always needs, and I've noticed what he actually does need, is a big brother in the game or a leader in the squad before he himself makes that transition to become a leader. And I think the person that helps him do that is one Jimmy Butler, because once Jimmy Butler got to the Heat, I noticed a sudden jump. It was quite a leap from the old impressive Bam Adebayo that we've been watching in the league to wait a minute, what's this? Bam is really becoming something else. I'll say it again. If it wasn't for him and Goran Dragic going down with injury in last season's finals, it would have been a 7-series matchup. It would have gone all the way to 7 games. But obviously, you can't help injury. When it strikes, it strikes. And Bam Adebayo is a key factor to that Heat team. And I think he's going to be part of the reason they make it deep into the postseason again.
Well, let's see. I don't know if they're going to do it this season, but fates
I'm not
change.
saying they're going to make it to the finals, Cyrus. I'm just saying.
No. I'm not even sure about making to the postseason this season.
Are you writing about it in the postseason, Cyrus?
That's a story for another day. I do think, though, that he's one of the most important pieces in this Heat team, and especially going forward, because the Miami Heat will look at Bam Adebayo as being somebody that they can stake their future on, especially when they start to build this team up to the level that they wanted to be at. Now, to finish off the show, Kaunda, let's talk about one Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is a 2-time MVP. His numbers have just been incredible again this season, and he hasn't even looked at his best. 27 points a game, 27.3 points a game, 11 rebounds a game, 5.7 assists a game. This is Giannis doing what he does best at the age of 26. It's ludicrous when you think about just how incredibly talented this guy has been. Yet everybody has their failings with him the issues with him because of his failures in the postseason. And I agree with those things in the sense that when you're a 2-time MVP, you should be doing more to try and win games for your teams. But I also feel some people look at an MVP as being LeBron James and doing what LeBron does and just powering teams to championships and what have you. That isn't always the case. Derrick Rose never did it. James Harden never did it. Russell Westbrook never did it. Steve Nash never did it. There are so many people who have been MVP players who just haven't got, taken the teams to the next level. So it's a little unfair to expect Giannis to do that. But because he's so dominant and he's been playing so well, the expectation is really high. Do you think that this current iteration of Giannis with these numbers could get the Bucks back to the number 1 seed and potentially NBA Finals?
Cyrus, 27, 11, and 5 is not a joke stat, Cyrus. And I know comparatively, we're saying we're not even seeing the best of Giannis. He can do much better than that, which he definitely can. Now, Cyrus, if making it to the top of the conference, to me, it's neither here nor there. We've seen it before. I always go back to, was it 2015 when the Atlanta Hawks were at the top of the Eastern Conference? And then everything fell apart. Last season, The Milwaukee Bucks were on top of the league, top of the Eastern Conference.
Both teams coached by Coach Bud, so I see what you're saying.
Maybe there's something in there. But let's not go to Coach Bud. But I'm just saying, it doesn't always take a top seed to make it to the NBA Finals, but it always helps if your seeding is high. And I think his performance, yes, it can help the Bucks make it to the top. But what I want to see from Giannis, especially this season, Cyrus, especially with all the naysayers that say LeBron should have been the MVP instead of Giannis going back to back, because obviously they feel, LeBron is also one of those things where you just get sick of seeing this guy, so you decide to vote for anyone else but him, which sort of like nullifies Giannis' MVP status. Like, I don't know, maybe he doesn't deserve it, or maybe he got,
as some people say, he definitely deserved it.
But I reckon he deserves it, and a great postseason push, maybe even just making it to the finals, Cyrus, even if he doesn't lift that trophy, willing that team to make it into the finals and take on the best from the West will put a date stamp on the fact that he is a deserved back-to-back MVP. And I think he's capable of doing that, and I think he's got the right pieces right now in Milwaukee to do that, Sire.
I think so too. I think that this is the best Milwaukee team they've had while he's been there. He's also a new dad, much like Joel Embiid, and that could be something that motivates him to try and, do a little better. But I think he's the kind of player.
As Fred Van Fleet had a baby, won a championship. Yeah, the price of what?
Yeah, it's looking like that might be the way to go. But Giannis really is one of those players, and we love it. But we're going to have to end the episode there. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Kaunda, for being on the show. As always, you're the best partner in crime. Everybody else, please like this video, share this video, and leave comments for us. We want to see what you're doing out there. We want to hear from you. But that's it from the Post-Up Show. In this particular episode, we hope to see you again and enjoy all of the NBA action.